From across the nation and around the world, for Pacifica Headlines, I'm Jesse Lent.
And we're talking right now. You know, they wanted to talk. Their people said, please don't shoot last night, the night before, 2 nights. Don't do it. You know, we're having good talks. So we'll see what happens. I think there's a good chance that something could happen. And if it does, good. If it doesn't, we go back to doing what we were doing 2 days ago.
President Donald Trump speaking to reporters yesterday, footage courtesy of Reuters. Despite Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Esmail Baghaei's assurances yesterday that Iran will not attack U.S. allies in the region as long as the ceasefire, which began late Friday, holds between the two countries, the news agency reports that Saudi Arabia, Jordan, and Iraq all reported drone attacks yesterday. At a campaign rally in Michigan later in the day, President Trump said of Iran's leaders, quote, "You can't bribe them, you've got to beat them." Baghaei said yesterday that messages were still being passed between the U.S. and Iran through mediators, and that his country had not given up on diplomacy, but reports that it requested negotiations were, quote, fabricated, he said, adding, quote, "This is not in our DNA." Iran's Central Military Command accused the U.S. of threatening vessels and oil tankers in its territorial waters and of, quote, attempting to implement an illegal maritime blockade, which it said, quote, constitutes an escalation of the conflict in the region. Saudi Arabian officials say the country's military shot down drones aimed at petroleum targets within the country, including in Riyadh, launched from Iraq by Iran-backed armed groups. Iran's Houthi allies in Yemen say they have targeted the east-west pipeline carrying oil to Saudi Arabia's main Red Sea port of Yanbu in retaliation for Saudi drone attacks. Bushehr Airport in southwest Iran has been rendered inoperable following recent U.S. strikes, a government spokesperson told Al Jazeera. Iranian government spokesperson Fatima Mohajerani announced today in a televised news conference that 12 bridges and 2 tunnels were targeted in the latest U.S. strikes. 1 in 3 Americans support the war in Iran, according to a new Reuters Ipsos poll conducted Friday through Sunday, with a majority of respondents saying that President Trump has failed to explain his goals with the conflict. The poll found that 71% of Republicans and just 5% of Democrats support the war. It clocked President Trump's approval rating at 37%, up 3 points from last month when his approval numbers tied the lowest of his presidency. Israeli forces appear to be raiding every possible town in the occupied West Bank, according to Al Jazeera. While Israeli raids are mostly focused on the northern part of Gaza, the news outlet reports that assaults continue to be conducted all across the occupied West Bank. At least 2 Palestinians have been injured in Israeli attacks east of Deir al-Balah in central Gaza, the Wafa news agency reports. Residents there and also in southern Khan Yunis, Rafah, and northern Gaza cities Zaytun, Tufa, and Shujaya neighborhoods say Israeli forces have advanced past the, quote, yellow line markers over the past 10 days. The news outlet reports that nearly all of the territory's roughly 2.3 million residents are currently concentrated in a narrow coastal area, living largely in damaged buildings or makeshift shelters and facing dire humanitarian conditions. According to the latest update published Thursday by the UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, 1,180 Palestinians have been killed since the U.S.-brokered ceasefire between Israel and Palestine went into effect in October, including 59 people killed between July 15th and July 22nd alone. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has arrived in Washington for a meeting with President Trump, the 8th time the two leaders have met since Trump's second term began, according to the Times of Israel. The paper reports that Netanyahu only secured the Oval Office invite after weeks of effort, combining the trip with his plan to attend the funeral of longtime Israel hawk, the late Senator Lindsay Graham of South Carolina. Several protesters were on hand in D.C. to voice their displeasure with Netanyahu's policies. Footage courtesy of Reuters.
Benjamin Netanyahu is a war criminal. He doesn't belong in our country. The only place he belongs is locked up with the ICC. I demand that the United States government follow the ICC warrant and arrest Netanyahu.
Sooner or later, you will be prosecuted. You will not get away with the crimes you committed. It's a matter of time. We will not give up.
Those are the latest Pacifica headlines for the Pacifica Network. I'm Jesse Lent.